Hi everyone, and welcome to stage 2, part 2 of the disciplinary process. Now, yesterday in part 1 we looked at informal interventions. So perhaps, as we suggested, somebody had a timekeeping issue, you sit them down for an informal chat and root cause what went on. So we're going to today look at the next stage of things. Perhaps that chat hasn't worked, or there's been a more serious incident or situation within the workplace that means you need to start looking at the formalised process that's more than likely in your company handbook. So here we go. I'm going to assume initially that two people have had a fracas in the office. There's been some very harsh words exchanged, probably the odd expletive. And we're now in a situation where the first question in my mind, prior to looking at any of the process, is do I need to suspend anybody? Most employees, interestingly, look at suspension initially as some sort of a punishment because they don't completely understand it. So, as you're going into this and you start to talk to the people after you have hopefully discharged the situation to a certain extent, you need to explain what is happening. As with all things we talk about, communication is everything. So we're going to go into a private area, sit down, potentially actually with somebody to witness what's going on if you can and if it's apposite to, and just explain to the person why they are being suspended. Say it's prior to the investigation that's going to take place. We're going to follow the disciplinary procedures set out in the company handbook. I'd always check they've seen an up-to-date copy of the company handbook because sometimes that can be a real stumbling block, and try to, if you can, answer any questions that they've got about how things are going to proceed and what's going to happen, without obviously pre-concluding anything, because we need to remain totally open-minded. The whole thing around what the next stages of this are is around planning and around doing things correctly. So they are objective and they are fair. Tomorrow, we're going to start to look at the investigation process. Now, hopping back slightly, if you're in a situation where, as an example, you have caught somebody stealing from your business, it may be apposite to immediately dismiss them for gross misconduct. However, I would exercise extreme caution around this. If there is any ambiguity, if there is any reason to suspect that things may not be what they seem perhaps, you'd be far better to go into a suspension as opposed to a gross misconduct and immediately dismissing. If you immediately dismiss, you obviously don't have to pay. However, if you've got it wrong, that leads to a whole new level of complexity. So I would always suggest suspension initially, even if it's gross misconduct. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Don't forget, our ears are open. We're at the end of the phone. DM us, email us, whatever the easiest way to get hold of us is if you have questions. And during COVID-19, we're giving away 30 minutes free advice to anybody who calls. Have a great day. See you soon.